Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast with me, Charlie.
Me, Rick.
Me, Fraser, and me, Serhan.
Without
Yeah,
Fraser.
minus Fraser. Minus
We'll put
Fraser.
Fraser audio clip in there.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, lads. So this week, I thought we'll go through a bit of Rick and Morty stuff. And a bit of the things that are surrounding Rick and Morty and the controversies surrounding this today. Give it a little bit of fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
I'm excited. Fraser's going to be gutted. He loves Rick and Morty.
It was his own fault. Fucking watching Quantum Mania. Jesus Christ.
Selfish.
How dare he have a life when he's got online friends?
Right. Online friends.
Online friends.
Don't debase yourself to being an online friend.
No, but I mean,
come on.
Right, come on, mate.
At least
right,
buddies.
We're online family.
Okay. So, Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. How are we feeling about Rick and Morty at the moment, guys? Just in general. Your general thoughts, feelings with everything that's been going on. What are you saying?
With the controversy or with like the
just in general? Just in general.
I
everything
have enjoyed Rick and Morty since they got renewed for like certain episodes. They got a bit of stability, and I was like, okay, cool. I could see that stability reflecting in the show. I was like, yeah, I like it. They're doing a lot more canon-based stuff. As a show, I respect it because it's one of those shows that was so good or so different. I thought this could easily just fall off the tracks. So as a show, the last season especially, I really enjoyed it.
Same. Same.
Oh yeah, absolute. I'm a stan, mate. I love Rick and Morty. Obviously as a show, nothing outside of it. The show is incredible. I love it all. I've loved every second. I'm loving the big arcing story that's happening now. But yeah, it's always got to be tainted by something.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be the way that everything's sort of heading at the moment. So I did a little bit of research. Rick and Morty is currently the 60th most popular show online at the moment. 60th most popular show. When you consider how many shows there are, it's kind of insane. Obviously, Adult Swim's #1 show, and the 35 most searched for show on Google, which is average 92% on Rotten Tomatoes by average viewer score, which is insane because not a lot gets 90 plus on Rotten Tomatoes. So obviously this is a high acclaimed show, right? What do you think makes it so good? Why are you so drawn to the show?
The writing, hands down, man. It's Dan Harmon. Obviously credit to Justin Roiland because the voices are incredible and it was his original idea, but Dan Harmon comes along and can just write something so cleverly stupid, and I think it's inspired so many new ideas. Like, Marvel's literally ripped it off, doing the whole, I know that it was a thing before to break through multiverses and stuff, but they've actually got Rick and Morty writers in to do some of this shit now because it's so impressive. And yeah, man, Dan Harmon is just he's like a fucking legend. Community, hands down. There's so many good ones.
I mean, I was gonna say my friend Charlie showed it to me, so I mean that's why I like it. But
did I actually? Did I show you Rick and Morty?
You introduced it to me and Rick in my room, and you're like, "Sit down, we need to watch this new show." And I remember you kind of said to me, "Look, I know he's gonna burp a lot and he's gonna drool a lot, but just you'll get past it." And it was that moment where, like, you guys are some of the few people that I will listen to in the sense when someone goes, listen to this song, watch this show, watch this film, you're gonna like it. And especially when it comes from Charlie, I'm like, okay, this is like a director's cut. Like, this is if it's anything below a certain standard, usually you and that Rick and Chaz won't like it. So I took it on a pinch of salt on that. I think, yeah, like Chaz, the writing is what's kept it going. I think they brought that element of, again, like what you were saying, Chaz, like the multiversal sort of traversal and different universe, and even as stupid as it can be, is kind of put it into the zeitgeist of like pop culture, where it's become more accessible as an idea. So when other things do it, people are a little bit more in grasp of it.
Right. Yeah.
In that sense. So yeah, I think the writing has smashed it, man. and I think they're still smashing it. They're somehow breaking the fourth wall whilst breaking another fourth wall whilst they're pointing a finger whilst holding a mirror up to the finger, and I'm like, fuck, okay, it still makes sense though.
Yeah, in a weird way it does.
Yeah, like the whole writers room for Community, Rick and Morty are smashing it, man. Like they are so ahead of so much shit that things are releasing based on like a Rick and Morty kind of formula. And I think with Dan Harmon releasing his story reel kind of thing, and that formula of how he constructs his episodes and everything, I've seen like a lot of different shows kind of take that on board. So yeah, man, the writing is jokes. The actual jokes, the punchlines to everything, I think are amazing. It's so smart in such a stupid way that you don't really see it coming a lot of the times. You have to watch an episode a few times to kind of eventually kind of get the joke behind it.
100%, yeah.
And it's just so good. It's just so good.
I think one thing that they've really benefited from, in my opinion, that not a lot of shows try to do or need to do or risk to do, is character development. From where we started and where the family is now, and who each role that everyone plays and who they are has really changed and grown when you really think about it. Like, and a lot of shows won't do that because like, that's the formula. This person's the joke, this person's the hero, and they've made Rick everything from the hero to the villain to someone that they just disregard, and everyone has changed. So I think again, writing, character development, I really appreciate that effort.
Yeah,
it's got that flexibility to kind of go into, you know, if this Beth was a bit like this, or if this Jerry was a bit more like this, and they can do that with any excuse of just saying this is a different universe. Yeah, and like that just opens up. I mean, they basically did it in Community with the dice, which, you know, opening up like the evil timeline and stuff. And they can do the exact same thing in this. Like, there's episodes where you see countless families dying. The family, and it will make you believe that this is the real one. And then they die. Yeah. And then it makes you believe this is the real one. And then they die. And it's like, no, this is the point. They're infinite. The only ones that we can truly know that we know is C-137. And unless they directly say that, it's not them.
Yeah. I think that's not the kind of telling thing. If it's not mentioned, it's C-137 Rick and Morty, you don't know what the fuck is going on at any point.
It could be any.
Yeah. So some of the craziest fan theories that I'm sure we all know some about on Rick and Morty. What are some of your theories that you know, just off the top of your head? Because I've got a few favorites.
Okay.
Go on, Chaz, because I know you've got way more than I do. Go on. He's bubbling right now. He's bubbling. He's like,
I've been waiting for this fucking episode.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like theories are kind of tough because it's kind of already told us. If you've paid attention enough to the episode, you kind of already get it, what's happening. I don't think there's much more to theory behind that other than the fact that Rick's Morty is the Rickest Rick, who we now can call the Rickest Rick because he's essentially the one before Rick. He is his Morty, and that's what we can gather. That Rick was obviously using him as bait, and that's what he's been waiting for. He's been waiting for him to come back, but now he's kind of learned that he kind of loves Morty and the family anyway. I don't know much beyond that, though, I would guess. I mean, I think it could be a stab in the dark for a lot of different guesses, but
yeah,
if you've got some, I'm open ears.
I mean, like, I think one of my favorite ones is like Rick obviously knows he's in a TV show. That's one of my favorites. Like Rick knows he is in a TV show. Like, that's why he's always playing to the camera. He's always like, "Oh, are you kidding me, ladies and gentlemen," or whatever. He's making jokes at the camera or whatever. Because he knows he's in a show. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and he's protected because he is the main character of the show. Nothing's gonna fucking happen to him, and even if it does, he'll be back.
I don't believe in that theory, and I'll tell you why. Rick knows there's a camera somewhere. It doesn't mean he knows he's on TV in the retrospect. He knows he's on a show somewhere because we've seen on Infinite Cable or whatever it's called, Intergalactic Cable, Interdimensional Cable, that he's got that you can watch anything anywhere pretty much whenever you want, and he knows he's always on camera, but that doesn't necessarily depict what's going on in front of him. Like if he's getting shot at and dying, he might make a reference to a camera he knows is there, but it doesn't impact his actual reality of what's happening to him. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't just go, rewrite it. He knows there's not like, I don't think he's referenced the writing of his own path. You know what I mean? Like that would really show his character kind of relying on a certain formula, but I don't know. I mean, that would be my argument against that, because it would just be tacky, I think.
I said, and I think this is the cool thing about it though, because you can have so many different theories about it, but like at the end of the day, the writers are never going to come out and confirm this is the right
That's
theory,
true.
this is the wrong theory. It can just spawn so much insane, crazy shit, and they can all relatively be tied, and that's part of what makes the show so fucking good. Is that there is so much going on at any one given time in any one episode, and you can link it to so many different things, and it just spawns all this crazy shit.
I don't think they need to answer too much of it. I think we've kind of proven like good shows, like when you think about Modern Family, never explaining why there's a camera. Even like fair enough. It's like it's a documentary style, but they never justify why there's a camera, why they're being interviewed. You know, it doesn't justify itself. It's not like The Office where it kind of say we're making it for this reason. And as a viewer, you don't question it. Like even the same theory with Scrubs, where they're like, is the inner monologue his diary? Is everything in his head? Again, they don't really need to explain it, and they just jump around to other people's inner monologue. So I think they don't have to justify everything. I think they've justified, from what I know of the theories of like the main canon stuff of like evil Morty must be his original Morty, as we were saying, or the episode where they go back into his memories and you see his wife and original Beth died. Was that like a distraction? Was that the real way they died? And they confirmed, well, no, that's actually that actually played out that way. And that's why Rick wanted to chase down this original Rick and so on. And so forth. So like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. I know it's so easy to talk about talking to the camera of obviously to be like, but I don't know, 10 more seasons or blah, 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 blah. But I don't know why the one that popped into my head was just like when he goes Nintendo crazy. And it's like, oh my God, Nintendo, we need to do it's 95. It's like, Nintendo, give us free stuff.
Apparently, that whole little skit that they made with the Nintendo was actually like Justin Roiland's, he actually did something like that. Like back in the day, it was like a Walmart were having some sale on Nintendos. And he wanted to genuinely like buy a fucking stock load of them and then just like eventually kind of resell them. But it was like a little nod, something that Justin Roiland actually tried to do. So they just chucked it in. It was like as a really obscure sort of joke. But even not knowing it, just him watching him freak out over Zelda is just great.
It's the fact that he just goes into the secret like vault in the living room and everyone's like, what the fuck? Like it's one of the first few times you see Rick sort of not even comedic, but almost his stupid obsessions. You know, like he does Morty's mind poppers.
Morty's mind blowers.
And he wipes his memory every time he fucks up. Like he says a word wrong. He doesn't like. They're the moments you don't see. So it was one of those moments. I'm like, Rick, what the fuck are you doing, man? It's like, quickly, they're on sale. We need to go get it. And everyone's like, all right.
Just part of the charm of the show, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. It's, you know what? It knows that it draws a lot from The Simpsons and South Park and stuff like that. It knows that it's got so many different, and it kind of instantly draws you in to say, we know, like we're quite aware of it, but we're better. You know, we're going to do it our way, and it's way cooler, and you're going to enjoy it. Yeah. And they do it really well. I mean, no, I don't think many people would have expected it to be this good from season one. You know, I think there was a very small fan base after season one, and it just exploded for season 2 and 3, and it just got bigger and bigger, like a cult following become mass following.
Well, saying that about the season 1, that's a nice little segue into the next point. So, do you remember the very first episode, the pilot episode, where
the seed?
Yeah, the mega seeds, and then Morty breaks his leg, and then he's got to come back and all that stuff, and he goes back to that whole episode. That whole pilot episode was written in just 6 hours. Apparently.
Wow, no way.
In just 6 hours, apparently there was after Dan Harmon had been fired from Community, him and Justin Roiland were in the office, the community office, sorry. And there was nothing in there, no tables, no chairs, nothing. They'd sold the idea to Adult Swim, and they were sat on the floor with the laptops, and it was whatever time at night, and Harmon was about to leave. Justin said, no, sit down, we're going to do this. If you leave, it's going to take us like 3 months to write this episode. If you stay, we can have it written in 6 hours. In 6 hours, they wrote the pilot episode, and from that spawned the 7 seasons that we know now and the 3 seasons left to come, and this entire fucking franchise, and how big Rick and Morty has blown up from a 6 hour written pilot episode, which I think is
insane.
Insane.
Well, it's 8 p.m. now. Are you guys free till 2 a.m.? Because let's just
we'll write
try
ourselves a
something.
little pilot.
Yeah, let's just end this podcast. Let's just write a whole new show in 6 hours and
We don't have to
record
call
it.
it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Rick and Morty. It could be like Mick.
Oh, I like that.
Morty?
Oh,
No. That's two on the nose. That's two on the nose.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
more like Mickey and Ricky. Like maybe play on a name.
Mickey and Ricky's good. What about like Rick and Morty? Ah, damn it.
How about Morty and Rick?
Oh, I like that.
Morton Rick.
How about
What about Beth and Summer? How about
what
that?
about Beth
Beth
and
and
Summer?
Oh my god, can you imagine? And they've basically done that already.
Like, I think just having that kind of impromptu attitude to be like, in 6 hours we're going to write a pilot episode, and they've done it. It's something that they kind of consistently do throughout the show. Like, a lot of the show, when you watch it, you can kind of tell it's like just been improvised and done on the spot and then chucked in. But that's kind of the charm of the show. Like the interdimensional cable episodes, and most of those episodes, those little commercials, are random outtakes. Yeah, like exactly. Two brothers. That whole thing was just like a random improvised scene that Royland had just kind of spat out, and they just kept in. And that's kind of part of the charm of the show. There's so much random improvised nonsense bullshit that's just chucked in there, but it just works. It fits with the rest of the theme of the show.
But I think like what you guys were saying, like it justifies itself because it stays on brand, it stays on theme. But even when they first showed the interdimensional cable, even more, it's like there's a certain spontaneism to this sort of thing, there's sort of improvisation to it. And Rick's like, yeah, don't worry, just don't question it, just keep watching. And then it kind of justifies itself because you're like, you're right, yeah, don't question it. It's 20 minutes of giving myself silliness, whatever the hell this is. But when it wants to be serious or deep or emotional or scientific, it justifies itself in a way of, if it was all silliness, I think you would lose the thread. It needs to kind of balance that rationale and silliness. But as you said, in the moments where they can improvise, fucking hell, they give good.
Yeah. It definitely all kind of goes to a point in the end, you know, like it has its season finale still and stuff like that. Like, and I feel like they could probably pump out the scope of one of these episodes in 6 hours, but then over the time of animating it and voicing it and stuff like that, you know, that's when the creative kind of, we can link this to this, and you know, and kind of the Dan Harmon steps in.
Yeah,
I imagine Royland, you know, has a lot to do with it, but you know, Dan Harmon's mind is like, there's more than just 3 or 4 narratives going on. There's arcing things going and things coming up from under, and he's just everywhere all at once. You know, he's a very good writer.
He's very, very, very good. That's what I like. Also, what I like about the show, when it wants to be funny, it can be hilarious. When it wants to like proper throw an emotional nutsack at you, it will do it. It will fully like hit you where you least expect it to hit. Like the episode of Rick. What was the thing's name? The one that was taking over Unity. That's the one.
Unity. I knew what you meant. Unity. Yeah.
Like that whole episode. Like when you watch it, you kind of get an idea of what's happening. But at the very end, you've got the music and he's trying to kill himself. And it's not the first time that you see him do it. And it proper genuinely hits you. It's like, oh shit! It's like smartest man in the universe or not? You know, Rick has got some fucking problems going on. It hits, man. It really does hit. They are a good team.
They even touch on that. Not on the suicide thing, but you know, like in the latest season, is it the Piss Master?
Yeah.
I like what, like
whatever his name is. Yeah,
it's the Piss guy or something, right? And it's a ridiculous character. It's a ridiculous fight of Jerry, and every way the storyline where Jerry goes, it becomes like a fucking like Iron Man of the universe. It's all ridiculous. But then when he takes like a little closer look and he brings in Rick and he like wants to find him and he finds that he's committed suicide, and then his, you know, the Pissmaster guy's daughter come, like you're still thinking about something so stupid in concept, but the heart of it is it's genuine enough and tangible enough to be like, right, okay, I get where this is coming from. It could be stupid, but that's what I mean. The multiverse stuff justifies anything random, but the show doesn't justify itself to say we're going to be different every week because of this. It's still about the characters and their personal stuff that they go through. and the multiverse stuff is just a beautiful, massive backdrop to it all.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's like even that, like, yeah, even that whole piss master situation, ridiculous. But when I think about it, I want to laugh, and I almost really want to take a step back and think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, kind of bouncing off of that, you've even got the fact that they've written bottle episodes when it's an animation. You don't even need to write a bottle episode. But they wrote a bottle episode as well. Like, you know what I mean? So they can literally go ridiculous and then just go, yeah, but you know what? We're actually really good at this. And this is just a bottle episode where there's a parasite going around the house making everyone remember things wrong. Like, you know, and it's just such a good idea. And it's like this is how simply brilliant they can be at the same time as having to take it into multi-universes. They can just go, there it is. There's a really fun little idea.
Yeah.
You know? It's good. It's really good writing. Really, really. This whole podcast is just going to be me arse licking Dan Harmon.
I mean, to be fair, he's got skills. He has got skills.
Incredible.
He has got skills. So so jumping into like the grimy side of it, what do you know with the show and Justin Roiland? Because this is the big controversy with the show at the moment, right? Like everyone's like, Justin Roiland this, Justin Roiland that. Well, what are your thoughts on it? Do you actually know what's been going on, or you're not?
I know 10% of what's been happening. I knew it initially that he was going to be off the show. Then it was like stories of, there was a Twitter statement or something that he was getting penalized for. All right, cool. Then there's been sexual assault. All right, cool. Then it kind of grew, and I heard like the other staff was like, oh, he's an asshole, or we don't even see him, or he doesn't show up to work. And it's one of those moments where I'm like, how much do I believe? I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm not saying there's not truth, because usually it's like a domino effect. You know, people are more likely to open up, but I didn't give myself too much to it. I didn't know what to believe. All I know is the end result is he's not on the show anymore.
Yeah, essentially.
So what is
I think this has probably all happened, hasn't it? Like the whole Justin Roiland thing, everything is pretty much, I can believe it all. And I think it's going to come down to Justin Roiland saying, look, I want to step away from it and keep its integrity and let you guys carry on without me, you know, and the fans follow that, you know, with them saying that Justin's an asshole and kind of like kicking him off it, but he's still going to be earning money from it if it's doing really, really well. You know what I mean? His name is always going to be on it no matter what happens. So I think he's probably cut his ties in the public eye as good as he can, you know, to kind of say, Dan, just shit talk me, man. Just shit talk me out. And, you know, I've done bad things. I don't want it to taint the show. I hope that's kind of what's happening, because I mean, it seems convenient, doesn't it? With that, you know, with everything that's coming out about Roiland now, it seems very convenient after the allegations and shit all came about.
Well, I mean, like, just to give you a little quick rundown of what actually happened.
Oh God.
So first, I think this was like back in January 2020. He was first charged with one account of domestic battery against a supposed ex-girlfriend, and one felony account of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, and/or deceit. So what that basically means is he got into a fight or an altercation with his girlfriend. She was hurt so bad she needed medical attention, and he stopped her from leaving the house. So that was the initial kind of, it's hard to hear, right? That was the initial sort of thing that kind of sparked the whole, okay, you know, Dan Harmon's going to court, we're going to sue him for this, he's under investigation for this, that, and whatever. From that point, I think Adult Swim had cut their ties with Roiland, whether like officially, whether he's still getting paid behind the scenes. I mean, he probably is, but officially, Adult Swim was like, nope, you're not part of the show anymore. He's out. Since he's been charged and is under investigation and everything in courts, it's all these other allegations from all these teens have come out and saying that he's been like sexually grooming them or whatever, and these kids are like 14, 15, and just reading up on it, there was a fair few different Twitter accounts were like posting their DMs from Justin Roiland about all this weird shit he was saying, and all. I don't know if he'd actually met any of them in real life or if this was just all online or what. I don't actually know, but there was a lot of different DMs going around, and Justin Roiland was at the focus of all of it. So Yeah,
Oh, that
that's
sucks.
yeah. It's hard. It's hard to hear shit like that.
Oh, jeez.
Hearing that now, like, what do you feel?
I don't think it should necessarily reflect on the work that's been done or on the show. I don't think it's going to overly taint the show that I've watched, because maybe I've interpreted it as that's Rick and Morty, those are characters, or it was written by him and Dan Harmon. But I don't know. I could watch it and feel surprised. I could feel a bit disconnected from the show now, but I think it's more about, obviously, the more real subject of whatever's happening is whatever justice is going to be had needs to be had. Those people need to have some sort of compensation of whatever element or sort. And then the show, which is obviously secondary to all of this, is, and I know that they're going to like recast and do all that jazz and or whatever. They're going to carry on if they do. But yeah, not the easiest or the funnest things to hear. But I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm not surprised. It's Hollywood. There is an element of things that we don't know.
That's kind of
like,
it, isn't it?
It's terrifying.
How much are you going to boycott if you boycott everything? I mean, and I know, rightly so, you should, because, you know, there are people like Kevin Spacey ruining House of Cards, essentially. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. And we loved House of Cards. We would watch it, me Rikesh, and Fraser would watch it like together.
Oh, yeah, shit, yeah.
And we loved it. And then, you know, everything comes out and it's like, it's really hard to watch now. That's really, you know what I mean? It's hard to swallow. But if they can replace him as a voice actor, I don't think the writing will hinder. I think the tone could. I think the tone, you know, Justin Roiland's tone would hinder. But I think the fans, and also there's a lot of people who work on Rick and Morty as well. It's not just Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. So I think you got to appreciate the many efforts that are going in all the time. And I think, you know, essentially he's 1%. It's a bit like Ezra Miller in the new Flash movie. Everything that was happening with him, and, you know, they still released the fucking film. And it's because, look, millions of people, not millions, hundreds of, maybe thousands of people have worked on this film, especially a big film like that. He's just one person in it. And yes, he's in it as multiple versions of himself, but he is just one, you know, or they are just one person. I think they go by. I think just one person.
I think that's what I mean. That was the saving grace of where Rick and Morty can get away with it, because it's animated. Whereas, like, I remember watching like Baby Driver, and then Kevin Spacey's in it, and I'm like, I'm enjoying the film, and there's that little moment you can't help. You kind of go, okay. Anyway, let's move on. Whereas Rick and Morty's animated, you don't associate the face too much with it. I think boycott.
That's what we're lucky. Yeah,
would be more appropriate if they were like, no, we're going to keep him on anyway. Or even if they went, no, he's been dropped of all charges, or it was all fake. I think, innocent or not, people, it would be tainted. Yep. Whereas if they've disassociated with him, the show's got nothing to do with him now. Like, there was even, you know, they do like, I can't remember who it was, like Vanity Fair interviews and stuff like that. And they were showing like Justin Roiland, other people doing his impersonations from like TikTok and YouTube and whatnot.
I think I watched that.
Yeah, exactly. I watched it at the time. This is a fair few years ago. But even the news around all of this controversy, they were like, has Justin Roiland already chosen his replacement without even realizing it? And a lot of the fans are backing up a certain person from that exposure from the Vanity Fair interview, have been like, this guy would be perfect. It's just a rando guy that could do the Rick and Morty voices perfectly in both of them. But yes, I think
it's one thing to be able to do the voices like Justin Roiland, but like Barry said, like it's the tone and the way that those lines are said, and the feeling behind it is where it comes from. You can get the voices spot on, but you're not going to have the right tone, and that tone is everything.
Yeah. I guess that would be their screening process. I mean, I know if he had a hand in writing it, that's one thing. But if everything's to be believed, and he wasn't even showing up, and him and Dan Harmon weren't even on good terms, and all he did was read lines, maybe they can get someone even better. Maybe they can get someone that can bring a complete different type of tone. Maybe they might even touch on it in the show a little bit. Like, you sound a bit different, man. You okay? Like,
they could kill off C-137, Rick and Morty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then easily go into a different, you know, or when they break past the
central finite curve.
Central finite curve. Maybe they'll break past that, and maybe that's a great opportunity to change up the tone. Yeah, I think Dan Harmon is a good writer. He has been saying it this whole time.
They could justify it, because that's what they were doing with Ezra Miller. the trailer looks fucking awesome for the Flash. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, yeah, it looks good, but they're doing a Flashpoint storyline where they're gonna reset everything and justify it. So even if they really didn't want Ezra Miller anymore, which they fair enough they don't, the film itself will justify a reboot and a restart. So like I said, whether it's the Infinite Curve or just a little joke, or they just don't even mention it, there's ways they can move forward. And like we said, because it's animated, they've got a bit more of a chance because the face isn't there.
Yeah, and I think not having an actual face and where it being animated, they have saved themselves a little bit of trouble. But it still goes back to the thing that, it's got Justin Roiland's name on it. And even if these allegations do come out and it's all fake and it's all bullshit and if someone's just trying to get clout or get some money or whatever, regardless of the reason, that's now tainted. His name is now got that reputation. And it's like watching Kevin Spacey or like Tom Hanks or all these people that I love these actors. They're fucking amazing actors. But I can't watch
Tom Hanks. You talking about Pizzagate?
Pizzagate. I don't know what Pizzagate is.
I heard this thing about Pizzagate.
I know what Rikesh is talking about. I think I know what Charlie's talking about because Rikesh is the one that showed me the video that now disturbed me. But
I mean, okay,
I have to live in ignorance. If Tom Hanks is,
I swear I've told you the story though.
I know you have. I think it was you that showed me it, and I think I think it's called Pizzagate because it started off with
It might be. Yeah, honestly,
it started off with like this Instagram post that was like a special code.
That's the one. Yeah. That's the one with the terminology. Anyway, that's not what this today is about.
Rabbit hole. Yeah.
But yeah, point being, like, once you get a reputation like that, it's hard to shake, man. And I can't really watch Kevin Spacey on screen anymore, even if it is like an amazing film like Baby Driver or House of Cards or anything of like Usual Suspects. I can't watch Kevin Spacey anymore. I can't really look at Tom Hanks anymore. It has that reputation that's just it's kind of
Tom
hard
Hanks
to shake.
It's not 100% official or anything like that. And honestly, I live in a world where Tom Hanks is a diamond, and until that is proven otherwise, I will remain. And I know it's probably not the way to think about people because you shouldn't idolize people, but man, it's tough.
It's hard.
It's some hard. Kind of belief, you know what I mean? Some kind of hope.
I think it's fair the way we approach things. We're not idolizing to the point where we're going to get their tattooed of their name on our fucking bodies, but we're not so naive to say, oh my God, really? How could it be possible? It's like, no, we don't know these people. We know of these people. We know stuff around them, but we don't know them. So I think it's safe to keep an open mind. Still love who you're going to love. Still support who you're going to support. Keep an open mind. Make your own decisions. But ultimately, don't be too surprised by anything. That's how I stand it. That's why for me, hearing this is disturbing, but I'm like, but okay, but I never knew the guy. Like, if I read the newspaper and was like, oh, they found out someone, I don't know, in South London was killed 4 people. It was a murderer. I'm like, all right, cool, terrifying, but I didn't know the guy.
But to someone, it might have been a big shock. Like, to people who did know.
Yeah, of course.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
That's the only way I could survive, man. We've got so much exposure of these people.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the media does portray them in a for better or for worse, is either at their highest highs or their lowest lows. They've got all their shit together. They can afford everything. They are happiness. They are a role model, or they're fucking, I don't know, druggies, abusers, going into rehab. Like they're terrible.
You just don't know. Being a member of the public, you're never really gonna know. We only know what we get shown from media or Instagram or Facebook or whatever the fuck it is. We never really gonna know the full story. We get shown one side of it, and that's all we get shown. We can dig into it a little deeper, but we're never really going to know. And that's where misinformation comes in. And with the internet, especially now, there's so much shit flying around. It's kind of hard to escape any of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's the safest way possible, man. Otherwise, you're going to do your own head. But look, lovers will be lovers, haters will be haters, as Taylor Swift said. But we're not here talking about her.
True. So before we get on to the last point,
I think we're about to run out of time on here, aren't we?
We are. So I think we will stop this one here.
We're gonna take an ad break now.
Ad break, monetized ad break.
Hold on, what's
eye holes? Eye holes.
Hey guys, do you need some eye holes?
Oh yeah, eye holes.
You need some eye holes. I need some eye holes too, because you know when you need to be driving and walking and talking, what you need is more not eyes but eye holes. So
Get up on out of here, my
yeah, but look, Rikesh, copyright.
The original Rikesh.
Original, bro.
I can't be original. I just
On out of here with those eye holes. Shit.
Did I do it?
Did I do it?
All of a sudden, all you're gonna hear is bang, 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 bang. The copyright police are gonna come in and be like, "Oh, fucking take it down." Oh shit! I'm so sorry. No.
Look for Rikesh. Crazy.
Anyway, it's £54 a month. So I'm ready.
This meeting
All
is
right.
being
Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast after the ad break from the eye holes. I hope you bought all the eye holes that you can, because we're almost out of stock. It's going quick, it's going fast. This isn't QVC.
Get your eye holes.
Get your eye holes from eye hole town and
Our whole town.
yep, that's what we're calling the company.
I was about to be like, if you want eye holes, then contact this number. And I was about to give you a number, but I thought,
No.
let's not do that.
No.
Oh,
Let's not do
one.
that.
Oh, one.
Because when you put the 0 and the 1 and the 0 and the 1, it looks like eye holes.
That's what I was going for.
You're a genius.
Binary. Oh my god. Okay.
And it even spells buy holes. Buy holes?
Buy holes.
And just
Bye.
This is a different product. Buy holes.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
sorry, Rikesh.
So, with all that having been said, with Justin Roiland and all his stuff, obviously they fired him, but people from Rick and Morty's show have been anonymously sharing that even though Roiland's been cut and separate from the show, he hasn't actually been a part of the show for years. He's not actually been seen in the office. He records most of his lines at home. He hardly ever shows up to recording sessions. And when he does, it's like once in a blue moon. And apparently he's just generally really difficult to get along with, even with Dan Harmon. And there's a lot of friction between the two behind the scenes. And you know that he's got his own shows, Justin Roiland's got Solar Opposites and Koala Man, which have been picked up by Hulu.
Yeah.
I think it was Hulu picked it up.
Which one's the one with the scientific girl? Is that Solar Opposites?
I've not seen either, but I think so.
Either
Solar
Charlie or
Opposites
Fraser showed me one of those episodes. It was very Rick and Morty-ish.
Yeah,
I've watched one episode.
Solar Opposites. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, even with those shows, like his own shows, people like staff from those shows have said that they've never actually even met him at all, even over Zoom like this. Like they've never even met him to work on a show, and that's his show, which I think, you know, that's bad work ethic for one, obviously. But aside from all of that, hearing that he's not been part of the show, he's not really put too much input in it over the last couple of years, that only really reaffirms my faith that Rick and Morty will just get better from the next 3 seasons on. If it does get picked up for more, then it could pick up for more. But when you remove that friction, I mean, he might have been a core part of the show, and he might have had a lot of insight into a lot of things and helped write most of the shows. But when you hear stuff like that, it's been coming out, and you know, when someone like that is removed, surely it's only up from there, right? Like,
well, look, here's the thing, right? So when Rick and Morty, like, let's say the last few seasons he's not been involved. Let's say what season are we on now? Like 6,
7, something like that.
So say like from seasons 4 or 5 onwards, right? He's not really been a part of it. There has still been, you know, interviews and, you know, stuff like that with Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, and they act like they're good mates and whatever. So, you know, at that point, they wanted us to believe that they were happy and they were good at creating this show and whatever. Now that all this stuff has come out about Justin Roiland, which everyone kind of knew was going to happen because he's a bit of an asshole, now it's like, oh yeah, he's never turned up to work and stuff. It seems very convenient for the marketing of a you know, a multi-million-dollar show.
Very true.
I think it is in Justin Roiland's best interest to just be like, you know, to save the asset. You know, he's gonna be making millions off of Rick and Morty. He'll always be a co-creator. So yeah, I think it was in his best interest to kind of allow them to do that anyway and not argue with it.
Mhm.
I think, I don't know, I'd say they are keeping us where they want us, and we are now itching to watch it. Whereas, you know, as Serhan said earlier, if they had kept him on the show, people would have boycotted it. And so the fact that they've said, well, actually, you've been watching a load of seasons where he's not even been a part of it anyway, it kind of makes you go, oh, okay, so it's probably going to be okay then. And you know what I mean? And you're instantly going to watch it anyway.
Yeah. I think both sides make sense, because it's one of those cases where, if like the Kevin Spacey thing, when it all popped off, if you weren't likely to believe the first thing, and the more and more people kept coming forward, it's like, well, oh yeah, it makes sense. More people would, because some of them can try and money grab, they're going to try and create more drama. The news wants more attention, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it makes sense where it does happen in the real world, where once one person speaks up, it really makes it likely for the other person to go, you know, fuck it, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. And there might be exaggerations or elaborations, but I think both sides make sense in that regard. Because let's say that even if 100 people came forward, to a certain extent, if Adult Swim and Rick and Morty as a show were like, okay, this sort of information could be more damaging to us, let's put a little spin on it, they're still going to kind of hold back on certain things and give or drip feed certain things forward. So I think it could be true, but the way they're giving us the info may be a bit more managed. It's almost like PR.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
It is literally is public relations, press release.
Yeah,
them two things combined.
And you know,
I think regardless of it, I think the end result is, like we said, he's not going to be at least known associated with the show anymore. I think that's the only thing we could take for like 100%.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. See, this is the thing, right? Like, when you say both sides have a point, I get what you're saying. Like, it could be the fact that, you know, it's true and he hadn't ever really been working on the show for years and all that stuff is true. Or it could just be the same thing, like, you know, Adult Swim and Cartoon Network have a bunch of fucking crazy lawyers and marketing team, and they know how to spin these kinds of stories. And if getting ahead of it and being like, yeah, you know, he hasn't really worked on the show for years, it's still going to be fine, don't worry about it. They keep their viewership, they kind of keep themselves protected. You know, they can recast Justin Roiland to pick someone else to do the voices, which wouldn't be overly difficult. But then, you know, you go back to the same thing of like, will the show still have that same feel under a new voice actor? Because Justin Roiland is Rick and Morty. You know, like, as much as there is the writers behind it, he is the characters.
Yeah.
So
100%.
It's kind of hard to tell, and you don't really know what the true story is behind it. We just get presented with a story or with the outcome or whatever, and we just have to kind of figure it out in a way, and that's where we kind of all get left hanging. You know. Because when you do hear stuff like this, like pedophile allegations and like domestic abuse, it does put a sour taste in your mouth trying to watch the show again. Like, I know for a fact, like, I'll watch the next season regardless, because it's still Rick and Morty. It's still a fucking great show. But I'm not going to know how I really feel about it until I'm sat watching it and then I get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But that's just me, man.
I think the best way... Oh, sorry, go, Serhan. You go first.
No. I agree with Rick. I think that's what I feel the same. I think that's what it comes down to. I won't know until I watch it or even rewatch it. I won't know until I have to put it in practice.
Have you tried to rewatch it since?
No, I haven't. I just finished up, but I don't think it will. I don't know. I've just got this feeling. I'm like, I don't think it will, but I feel like now we've spoken more openly about it and I've got more into it, it will probably spike and taint the viewership a little bit, but there will be enough going on where it won't be so prominent. But like you said, mate, I might need to watch it and just be like, I can't fucking do this, or I'm actually
don't do that. Don't watch it and taint it yourself, because I think, you know, the bliss is that we don't have to look at Justin Roiland. You are hearing his voice.
Yeah.
The voice that you're hearing has been directed and written by more than just him. You know, the words he is physically saying. Yeah, there's improvised bits, and you know the whole interdimensional cable thing that you mentioned earlier with him riffing a lot. Sure, you know that a lot. If you want to take from that he's not funny because of allegations that have happened, but at the end of the day, funny people have existed. Like Bill Murray is being accused, you know, and I think
no way.
People are people. Yeah, Bill Murray's one. It's quite public. He had it. He was like quite creepy on a talk show and stuff. But these are people that, you know, they are still funny. You can hate them or love them. Chevy Chase is still funny, you know. And if something was to come out about Ricky Gervais, his comedy is still funny. It might be harder to watch it, but at least with Rick and Morty, you're not watching him. His words have been orchestrated. His jokes have angled in a certain way, and it wouldn't have been greenlit if it was beyond that boundary of
True.
being creepy. Like how in House of Cards, he's actively a creepy guy and he's hitting on younger women and men, and it is hard to watch. You're not getting that in Rick and Morty. There's so many people in the way of it, and there is literally a color screen in front of you of what's going on and a whole animation team working on it. So don't let it taint your experience. It is a fantastic show, and yes, it had someone who was involved with some shit, but at the end of the day, I'm not justifying anything he's done, but these are just people, and people have done bad things throughout history and still created incredible things in the process. Her life is a long time, and in that little portion of his life where he was working on Rick and Morty, he helped create something beautiful. And I think that's kind of just what you take from him as a person. You go, he's an asshole. Fuck that guy. This is awesome though. I really like this.
Yeah. I think that's fair. It's almost like saying they got an amazing writing staff. If one of them had come out and all these allegations come to them, we wouldn't have taken it as personally because we don't know the face.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're going to watch the show and be like, oh, he wrote this episode, I can't watch it anymore. It's a little bit of that association. So I do agree with you, Chaz. I think that's what I mean. Like, I want to watch the new season. I can still have it in mind, but more excitement of, I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder what the new spin's going to be. I wonder how they're going to approach it, handle it.
Yeah.
Manage it even.
Just more on a curiosity sort of side to it.
Yeah, but I'm still want to see where the storyline's going to go. What's happening with Rick? We ended the last season on a big canon level of, Rick for 2.5 episodes is a fucking robot, and then he's been trying to hunt down the original Rick and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I want to know what the fuck is going to happen. It sounds like
what I will say. Sorry, no. Finish your point, mate. I thought you'd finish. My bad.
No, I just want to say that it almost felt like they're going to go a bit more to the original style of Rick and Morty, a bit of the old formula of a bit more of that original broken Rick of no, I haven't given this session aside. I'm going to find this fucker. Like, he just seems way more concentrated.
I think so. I was going to say, I don't know if you guys still watch Corridor Crew.
Yeah.
On YouTube. So they have recently been dealing with AI stuff and how you can basically, first of all, they've done it with audio, and so you spit, it's basically like when you teach your phone to listen to you and whatever, you do that, a load of that, you say loads of different words, but then essentially you can just generate a voice. Now the technology has come so far, and that was maybe a year ago that they did that. The technology has come so far now that they can even animate from live action, frame from it. Looks incredible. I'll send you a link to it. It's so amazing. But long story short, they actually could get they could get Rick and Morty as characters, put in the sentences and the inflections they want in their voice, and Dan Harmon can literally DJ it. And I know it sounds stupid, but it's just the way you want something to be said. It's just the tone that you want it to come across as. When someone says, I love you, you want them to say it like, I love you, or you can just, I love you. You can tweak it, and there are so many people that work on the show. I think they could literally just do something along those lines, even if they have a voice actor do it first and then, but I think it's pretty doable in this day and age to just go, all right, cut him out. It'll be good anyway, well, hopefully we won't know until it happens, but
with Corridor, how they kind of, I know it was probably around way before, but at least for my viewership, they introduced the element of deepfake. And they do deepfakes and stuff. And we all know what it is,
yeah.
Randomly, I saw an advert. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's on ITV, and it's called Deepfake Neighbor Wars. This isn't a plug, by the way. ITV, please sponsor us. And it's basically, from what I could tell, it's basically deepfake celebrities. And I don't know how they got away with it, but they're all neighbors. And it was so Kim Kardashian's the postman or something, or Rihanna's this person and Keanu Reeves, and they're all just living on the same street. And I assume they're impersonators. Mate, it looks really, the concept with the technology,
That's
I'm
insane.
like, it makes sense.
There's no laws, as far as I know, there's no laws yet. So I've been saying this. I put an Instagram post up on my Insta probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And it was when deepfake really kicked in. And I don't know if you guys ever saw it. It was when I had my face on Wolverine. and it was like a little trailer of
Yeah.
my face
Maybe.
on Logan. And mate, I literally say in the caption, I don't know how this isn't illegal, because you could literally put your friend's face in a porno and get them fired, or something like that. And I know it sounds, and that's a small thing. We know everything we know because of what we see and hear. If we see a video of Justin Roiland punching a woman in the face, right, and we'll go, oh, fucking Justin Roiland, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. That could be fucking fake. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that was Justin Roiland was a bad example, because it probably has happened. But, it could be done. And like, as you said earlier, we only know what we hear as the public and what we see as the public. And it can all be fucking lies now.
Yep.
Take it as it comes.
Yeah, you just
and
don't know
enjoy
what
it
to
as it comes,
Yeah.
I think
Try to not let it inflict anything.
I think that level of thought towards it is a bit of a product of our generation. Like, we are the generation where we had a good 10 years without the internet. Then in our 10, 11, 12 years old to like teenage and adulthood, we've had the internet, and we know what to believe and not what to believe. Or we even know kind of the idea of, let's keep an open mind. And we don't know what to believe, but we know the parameters in which to not be surprised.
Yeah.
Yes?
To an extent. I reckon that
extent.
there are still a fair few very convincing bullshit articles out there that have been tested on people. Like, this is a fake article. We'll show it to people, see what they reckon, and then see what happens. And people still fall for fake shit. Like, I still fall for, like, I'll see something on the news, like, oh, how many times have I seen something like Jackie Chan's dead? Like, what the fuck? You go Google it. Jackie Chan's not dead. He's still alive. He's fine. I mean, it's like, it's just so much fake shit. And because you've got the internet and mobiles that it's just
mate,
everywhere.
it's a rabbit hole. You could literally go all the way back to Michael Jackson, Elvis. People have been saying the power of Hollywood, the power of music industries, it's so fucking unfathomable.
Dude,
when you have that much money, that dude, they say that Epstein killed himself in prison. Come on, man, the guy's a multi millionaire. He's probably a billionaire. He could have he could offer the guard fucking 80 million right there and then. That guy ain't gonna fucking say no to 80 mil. You know what I mean? Like, to let this one fucking weird guy, and there's, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Money and power is scary.
Yeah, for real.
It could be
True.
anyway.
True.
Anyway, what a fun note to leave on.
ITV, watch it.
ITV.
You know what? I kind of feel bad because we haven't asked Fraser once what his opinion was on this whole.
Fraser?
Oh no! Wait, he's not here. That's why.
Fucking Fraser.
I'm gonna have to shoot off now, guys. I've got like.
Wait, can I? I want to say one last thing. Rick, did you choose Rick and Morty because your name is Rick?
Yes.
Have you?
Nailed it, mate.
Oh my God!
Sherlock moves right there, mate. Sherlock and Watson over here.
I figured it out.
So smart.
Da Vinci Code,
You've got the
bitches.
smarts on today, Serhan. Oh my God.
Da Vinci Code. I've worked it out, man.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
You
I'm
never
actually
would
not
have put it.
Serhan. I'm actually Fraser with a deep fake.
I thought he was going to say Morty.
Plot twist. Plot twist.
Oh. Okay. Guys, I need to go because I'm hungry now.
Yeah, that's it from me, guys. That's all the notes I had. But
Awesome.
good.
Potty, guys.
GG
Good
clap.
potty.
Wait, we have to do the outro, Charlie.
R.I.P.
Oh,
Fraser.
yeah.
Oh,
Not all right. He's not dead. Okay, now. I hope not.
He's just watching that, man.
Fraser, we love you.
Thank you for listening. If you have been this whole time, thank you for sticking with us. I'm Charlie.
Appreciate it. I'm Rick.
I'm Fraser. And I'm Serhan.
Nice.
Guys,
Nice.
I love you
Stuff,
always
stuff.
as usual.
Love you guys.
I can't wait to hold you in real life and just smelling the
Oh, I went in a Justin Roiland direction there for a quick second. I was like,
No,
be careful.
Oh, jeez,
Be careful.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, Rick.
That's where we get sued right there.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
I feel warm now.